Hi, I'm Sakib. In this video, I'm going to create one Gradle project named Factorial. After that, we'll write the Java code for that Factorial thing as well, and then we'll run some tests on that code. So let's get started. Okay, so let's create a new project, a new Gradle project. I'll keep these things as it is and will simply click on the next button. Here I'll give the name as Factorial, and after clicking on finish, um, the IntelliJ will create a project for me, and once the indexing thing is done, we'll start writing our Java code. So um, at first we'll go to the um, project window by pressing command and 1. In here I'll go to the source folder. Okay, so indexing is still going on, so we'll wait for that. So yeah, I think it's done. So let's navigate to the uh, source folder, which is inside project window right here, and inside the main directory, and again inside the Java directory, we are going to create one class here, and the name of the class will be um, and the name of the Java class will be Factorial. Okay, so inside this class we are gonna be having uh two variables. One will be uh one will be number, of which we want to calculate the factorial, and the another will be the factorial itself. I mean the result. I mean the factorial of the given number. Will store that factorial of the given number in this factorial variable, and after that we'll be having one method which will get the factorial of a number, of a given number. Okay, no, before that we need to create one constructor for this particular class which will initialize these two variables. So in order to create that constructor, I'll press double shift, and then I'll write constructor here, constructor. Yeah, it will take number as an argument, so we are good here. And I also want to initialize this factorial thing with 1. After that, we'll again create one method which will return the factorial of a given number. So let's create that method. Public integer will return an integer value, integer get factorial, and in here basically we'll be having three test cases. One will be if the number is negative. So if the number is negative, we'll simply return null. Now, if the number is equal to 0, we'll return 1, as the factorial of 0 is equal to 1. And if the number is positive, we'll simply write our algorithm to calculate the factorial of that particular number. So in this in this get factorial method, uh, our first case would be our first case will be if the number is if number is negative. Okay, so if the number is negative, then number is negative, then will simply return null. Okay, if now our second case is if the number is 0. If the number is 0, uh, if number is 0, then we'll return 1, which is uh, simply factorial, as I have already initialized this factorial with 1. Now the last case would be if a number is positive and not 0. Number is positive, so I'll simply calculate the factorial for it. So I'll make use of a count variable. This will go until it reaches the number itself, count plus plus, and in here I'll simply calculate the factorial as, or I'll simply write the algorithm for calculating the factorial, uh, and here I'll simply return the factorial. I think our factorial class is done, and now we'll write some tests. So in order to do that, I'll simply press mm, simply press Command Shift T to create new test, and the name of the test will be factorial test only. So let's create a test, some tests to for our factorial. So in here, our first test would be uh, to check if if we are passing like a negative number, then are we getting null or not. So our first test would be um, is return null. Okay, and we have to create an object of that factorial class. So we can simply say new factorial, and we can pass some negative number here, and I'll just store this newly created object into one reference variable. And to do that, I'll say option command v, and then I can make use of a method that is assert equals So if the number is negative, then my expected value is null, and let's get the uh, calculated value by making use of this get factorial method inside the factorial class. So our first test is looking good. So let's run this first test. And to do that, we can make use of Control Shift and R. Sorry, Control Shift and R. As you can see, our test is running now, and yeah. So our first test got passed. So let's write the next test, a second test, which would be what if we give a number which is 0. So we'll say public void is uh, return 1. Again we'll create a new object factorial and we'll pass number 0. We'll again store this newly created object into one reference variable using option command V. After that we'll again make use of this assert method, assert equals, and here my expected value is 1, and let's get the calculated value by making use of this get factorial method inside the factorial class get factorial. Okay, so again let's run this test. Control Shift R. So yeah, it again got passed. So let's create our one more test for a positive value. Public void on, now let's name it as is return factorial. Again let's create a new object, that factorial class, and let's provide a positive value. I'm providing 4. Again we'll be storing it into a reference variable. After that I'll make use of this assert equal method, assert equals, and here my expected value is 24, as the factorial of 4 is 24, and again I'll get the calculated value factorial dot get factorial, and now let's again run this test. Control Shift R. And yeah, this test also passes conveniently. So what if I just change this expected value and again run my test? So the test failed. Expected is 25 but it was 24. So yeah, it is running good. Now this has been passed. Now let's run all the tests at once. Yeah, so test passed 3 of 3. Oh, this is it. Thank you.